Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of DFS Jags 2022 Masters Week. My name is Riku Mukherjee. My usual co-host Tony Altieri is not available today. He is traveling. We were trying to do the show, but he had some flight delays and wasn't able to do it. So I am flying solo today. I'm doing pretty much everything here. Just wanted to put some content out there for you guys to talk. To let you guys know what my thoughts were about this tournament coming up this week. This is my favorite week of the year. This is like my Super Bowl. When the last putt drops at the Tour Championship in September, this is pretty much that's all on my mind. It's the first week of April. It's my favorite week of the year, the first major of the year, um, and pretty much like everyone focuses in on this tournament. This tournament this year has a little bit more hype because of the Tiger news, which we'll get into in a few minutes. But everyone knows the Masters. Everyone knows Augusta National. Everyone knows everything about this tournament. So it's nice to be able to chat with you guys a little bit about it this week and talk about what I like this week, and we'll talk about DraftKings and bets and all that stuff. Tony was nice enough to put together the slides for us that shows his model, the players that he likes the best, and I talked with him yesterday, and he kind of told me about the guys that he likes. So I'll definitely talk to you guys about what he's feeling, what I'm feeling, his bets, my bets. We'll go through all that. So this is my first time doing a solo pod, so just kind of bear with me a little bit, but we are not going to recap the Valero Texas Open last week, mainly because it was I didn't watch any of it. JJ Spawn won. I think he was like 200 to 1. And nobody that I know of had a JJ Spawn ticket. And you're not here to listen about last week's Valero Texas Open. So we're going to talk about the Masters here. So we'll jump right into it. I'll fly through this pretty quickly for you guys. So not wasting too much of your time. I know the tournament starts tomorrow. So we'll start off by talking about the course a little bit. Everyone knows Augusta National. It is a par 72. It used to be a little over 7,400 yards. They actually lengthened the course a little bit. I think it's around 7,520 yards now, with bent grass greens. I don't know why Tony put Bermuda there because they are bent grass greens, but yeah. So when you're doing your research, do not look for Bermuda because this is a bent course. Last year, Hideki Matsuyama won this championship. He played phenomenally after a rain delay. He went out in the middle of I believe it was the third round. There was a rain delay for about an hour, and he came out and birdied like 6 straight holes, and then ended up finishing the championship on Sunday, defeating Xander Schauffele down the stretch. And yeah, you can see that picture right there of his caddy bowing to the course, a very iconic moment for Japan golf. We'll get into Hideki's situation in a few minutes when we talk about his chances this week. He is back here to defend. He had the champions dinner last night, where he served a bunch of sushi, some cod, some beautiful Japanese dishes to all the former past champions, and it looked like a delicious menu. So Tony's key stats this week for Augusta: strokes gained, ball striking, opportunities gained, driving distance, scrambling, and three-putt avoidance. Now, the thing about Augusta is that they're the toughest. They're one of the toughest courses as far as the greens go because of undulations and speed and just around the green play. But when it comes down to it, this course is a second shot golf course. I mean, you can be long. We've seen bombers win, but we've also seen um, short hitters win in the past too, like Zach Johnson and Danny Willett, and players that you don't expect to be bombing it out there. Now, one thing about this week is that it is going to be a little wet. It has been raining the last couple days. It's supposed to kind of rain through tomorrow morning. So the course is going to be a little wet. So maybe driving distance is a little bit more important this week as far as the bombers go, just because you're not going to get much roll on the fairways. But at the end of the day, you can still get around this course, even though par 5 scoring is really important here. You can still get around this course as a short hitter. So it's a situation where basically you you want to kind of evaluate the course as a area where you want to factor in like all parts of your game, distance, around the green, putting, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to ball striking and approach, which is why I am really going to be leaning towards the approach players, the great iron players like JT and Morikawa and all these guys, and we'll talk about that shortly. But the other thing we talk about when it comes to Augusta is other compared to any other course on tour, it is the most repeatable, I guess is the right word to as far as course history goes. Like when someone gets a knowledge of how the greens play and how the course plays, in at Augusta, they seem to be able to translate that year in and year out. And that's why players like Fred Couples and Tiger Woods, they just come in and they can basically come in and play this course with their eyes closed and know where you can miss and know where you can leave the ball to grind out a par. Now, I don't really take into all that stuff that Bryson said last year about this being a par 67 for him. This is a tough golf course. This is a par 72. Um, Last 2 years ago in the November Masters, we had Cam Smith shoot 4 rounds in the 60s, which was the first time that was ever done in the entire history of the Masters. So if you go out and shoot 4 rounds in the 60s, that is incredible. So just know that if your players are shooting under par every day, 70, 71, those are good scores. Like at this course, you're going to make bogeys, but you got to try to avoid the three putts. You got to try to avoid the big numbers. Like last year, we saw Vic Hovland triple bogey the first hole, and that pretty much took him out of the tournament right away. But then he was able to actually scrounge his way back and make a lot of birdies and get back in contention last year. So yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about Augusta. We've seen it. We've seen all the courses. There's couple little changes they made this year. They made 15 a little bit longer, which is a par five. So it might be a little bit tougher for some of the guys to go for it into. And the big change they made was on number 11, where they took out some trees on the right side of the fairway. So it might be a little bit of an easier approach shot if you were to miss on the right side of the fairway or even in the rough on number 11. Number 11 is probably the toughest hole on the course in general. So a par is a good score on that course. There's a lake right next to the green there. So if you want your players to miss somewhere on that hole, if they can't hit the green, the right side chipping area is where you want them to miss so they can try to get up and down. But yeah, so we're gonna jump into it with the actual field here. The course, we talked enough about the course. We know what we like in the course and the past history and stuff like that. So let's just jump into the field here. We're going to kick it off with the top of the board, all the players priced above $10,000 here. We lead it off with Scotty Scheffler at $11,000, John Rahm, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Vic Hovland, and down to Rory McIlroy at an even $10,000. Now, you can see the slide here where it shows all of Tony's model, where it shows his overall rank, his stats rank, his tournament history rank, and his current recent form rank. And you're going to see the top of the board here, where the guys are, his overall rank are basically the top guys here, except for Morikawa, who comes in 46th overall for him. So I mean, let's just kick it off at the top here. Scotty Scheffler, highest priced guy in the field. He first time ever he's been the highest priced guy in a field strength like this. He is the number one player in the world. He's won 3 out of his last 5 events. So what do we do with Scotty here? It's a tough call because do I think he's the number one player in the world? No, I actually don't think he's the best player in the world. He deserves it because he's been the hottest player on the planet the last month and a half. So I get the ranking and I get the price, but I truly think that he's not the number one player in the world. I think that either goes to like John Rahm or Justin Thomas or something like that. So as far as who I like up here, I'll talk about ownership in each range here. So right now, for these guys above 10,000, the guy that's coming in highest owned this week is Justin Thomas. And that makes the most sense because he has been in great form recently. He has great history at this course, a bunch of top 20s, a fourth place finish a couple of years ago. I get all the love for JT. He's the probably the best approach player, either him or Morikawa on the planet. The only thing we got to look at with JT is how is he going to putt, and we really don't know. We'll know, probably early tomorrow how his putter is going to be handling it. But yeah, if he can get his putter together, I can't see a reason why he can't easily win this tournament. So JT's coming in the highest owned. He's coming in a little over 20%. After him, the next highest owned in this range is going to be John Rahm. He's obviously, I think, the best player in the world. His track record here is like it's impeccable. He's pretty much done everything besides win this tournament. So, the last 4 years he's had four straight top 10 finishes. So I get the love for JT and John Rahm up here. I made a conscious decision, I think 2 or 3 months ago, maybe like beginning of January, that no matter what happens between then and the Masters, my one and done pick for the week, my big bet for the week, and the guy who I think is going to win the Masters is going to be Victor Hovland. I think his game is just been phenomenal over the last 6 months. His approach play is incredible. We know the biggest flaw in Victor Hovland's game is the around the green game, the putting, which can get him in trouble here because of how difficult the around the green in his game is. But his tee to green game is so good that I think that he has a really good chance of winning the Masters this year. We've already seen him in Butler Cabin one time before, a couple years ago when he won Low Am with Tiger in Butler Cabin with him. I was actually at that tournament, so that was fun to see. But he was Low Am, so he has good experience here. He finished 21st here last year, and then 32nd in 2019 as an amateur. So he's there, as far as making the cut and just having decent course history here. But I think the 2 years of experience for him and the level of his game that's jumped over the last 6 months has just put him squarely in a position to don the green jacket on Sunday. And the fact that he's also coming in reasonably low owned at this moment, I'm looking at about 9% ownership in the Millie Maker. He just comes out as my favorite play in this range, and it looks like Tony kind of likes him too. He's sixth overall in his model. The other guys in this range, we can talk about them. As far as like ownership goes, it looks like JT and Rahm are soaking up all the ownership in this range, and then everyone else seems like it's a little bit lower owned pivot wise. So if you wanted to pivot off of JT and Rahm, it's completely understandable. DJ is coming in with absolutely amazing form. So he's been playing really well the last month. He looked really good at the match play a couple weeks ago. He's a past champion here a couple years ago, even though that was in November. So DJ seems like a good play here. Rory, he's coming in the next highest owned, right around like 11-12%. Now the thing with Rory is that he needs to win this to complete the career Grand Slam, which has been a hot topic for him for the last 7-8 years since he won the other three majors on the schedule. So every year it comes down to, is Rory going to actually finally win the Masters? Is he going to complete the career Grand Slam? Now, he did something a little different this year. He usually takes the week off before the Masters, and this year he actually played the Valero Texas Open last week, missed the cut, did not look good playing. And then he comes into Masters this week with all this pressure of, once again, trying to win the Grand Slam. I think for me, I'm out on Rory. He did not look good last week. His numbers were really, really bad. I like it that he changed it up a little bit and got in a couple competitive rounds the week before, but I just can't get there with him. I think his game is a little bit bad right now, bad form at the moment. So I'm going to be out on Rory, and my favorite player here, like I said, is Vic Hovland. Even lower owned than Vic is going to be Scotty and Morikawa. Now, Morikawa has won 2 out of the last 8 majors. This guy knows how to close the door. He doesn't have the greatest history here. He had a 18th finish last year, 18th place finish last year, 44th the year before. So it's okay. It looks like he's getting a little better. It looks like he's getting a little bit more accustomed to the course, which is what I like. I like a guy to see the course a couple times before they're able to win the Masters. So if you're if you're trying to pivot in this area, the pivots are going to be Vic and Scheffler and Morikawa, and the high owned guys are JT and Rahm. If I'm going to power rank the guys that I like up here, Vic is going to be my number 1 play up here. And my number 2 play up here is going to be one of the chalky guys. It's either going to be JT or Rahm. I'm leaning more towards Rahm just because his approach play has been absolutely phenomenal over the last few months. His short game has just been bad. So it's a situation where, can he flip his putter around to win the Masters? Yes, I think he can. So I'm going to go with Vic and Rahm up top. And then my third favorite play up here, I'm probably just going to go ahead and say Morikawa just because he's coming in the lowest owned in this range. He kind of burned me at the Players because I was really heavy on him, but he was just in the bad draw that week. So I'm going to be not even going to consider that at the moment, but his form has not been the greatest. As you can see, he's overall 46th in Tony's model. So that's not too thrilling, but when it comes down to a course where it's a second shot course and you want approach play, who else do you want other than Colin Morikawa? The guy is absolutely phenomenal with his irons. He's seen the course twice now. So I really like him this week as far as an ownership pivot and a DK play up there. So if you're going to start your lineups off with Hovland, Morikawa, you're just going to be different in general. So you can try to be chalky in some other places and make a good lineup. So that's really my thoughts up there. I'm really out on Rory this week, but yeah, I mean, my one and done this pick this week is going to be Vic, and I really think he has a good chance of winning the Masters this week. So yeah, let's drop into the next range, which is absolutely peppered with stars here, leading it off with Cam Smith at the top. He just won a few weeks ago at the Players Championship. He also won earlier this year at the Tournament of Champions. So he's coming in with great form, followed by Jordan Spieth at 9,800, down to Xander, Cantlay, Koepka, defending champion Hideki, Will Z priced here at 9,200, even though he has never, ever, ever won a PGA Tour event. Bryson coming in at 9,100, and then at the bottom of the 9K range is Daniel Berger. Now, this range is pretty tricky. As you can see on Tony's model, Cameron Smith is number 1 overall. I know Cameron Smith is Tony's favorite play this week. He's on his betting card. Tony seems like he's all in on Cam Smith. I like it. I like Cam Smith, but I don't think I can get there with him being the chalkiest player in this range. 21% for Cam Smith seems a little unreasonable, to be completely honest with you. He has great course history here, a 10th place finisher last year, a second here a couple years ago. He's coming in with great form. I get it. I absolutely understand all the love for Cam Smith. I just can't bank on a guy that makes every single putt inside of 12 feet on planet Earth at this course. Now, this course is different. A 12-foot putt at Augusta Greens is different than a 12-foot putt under those flat Bermuda greens at Sawgrass. The guy literally makes every single putt. Let's just say his putting just kind of drops a little bit on these tough Augusta greens. He doesn't have enough of the rest of his game to be able to compete at that point. The thing that bails him out is that putter, is that chipping. His off the tee game is not good. His approach play is okay, but I just can't get there with a chalky Cam Smith at 21% ownership, banking on the most volatile club in the golf bag. I just can't do it. So I'm gonna take a stand here. 21% ownership, probably one of the chalkiest players on the slate, And I made the decision this morning that I'm just going to completely fade Cam Smith. If it burns me, it burns me. If he sits there and wins the Players and then the Masters this year, I will just take it on the chin, and at that point, just accept it that Cam Smith is just strokes gained magic beans. He just knows how to play golf, and I'll take that risk this week. My favorite play in this range is going to be Brooks. The guy's major championship history is just phenomenal. I mean, there's nothing else you can really say about it. He missed the cut here last year, but he was also severely injured last year. He could barely bend over. So I'm going to disregard that and just in majors, Brooks just shows up. And the best thing about this week is that he looks like he's really healthy. He's coming in better form that you would think. He played well at the match play. He played well in Phoenix. He played well at Sawgrass and so on and so forth. So Brooks, the Masters, no one's really talking about him that much. Sign me up. He is one of these guys where he knows how to turn it on when it's major season. He's peaking right now as far as form goes, and I absolutely love Brooks this week. He's coming in the second highest owned in this range behind Cam Smith. So obviously I can't pick both of them. So I'm going to fade Cam Smith and I'm going to play Brooks Koepka pretty heavily in this range. Now, as far as the rest of the range goes, Xander's coming in the next highest owned. Xander is one of those guys. He was in there on Sunday last year with Hideki. He finished third. He finished second the year that Tiger won a couple years ago when I was there. He has phenomenal history here. I like the betting price on Xander, to be completely honest with you. I think he's like 25 or 26 to 1 or something like that. As far as DraftKings goes, he's going to make the cut. He's probably going to be in contention, and he's not going to win. So, is that not going to win? Is that going to be a top 10 finish? Is it going to be a top, 10 to 20th finish? I don't know with Xander. At this price at 9,600, you need him to finish in the top 10 if you want to try to win $1 million this week. So, as far as that goes, I'm probably going to be like even to the field. I'm going to play some Xander for sure. I just don't think I can get overweight on him like I can the two other guys after Xander as far as ownership goes. For me, Willsey and Jordan Spieth, I am going to be overweight this week. Willsey, I play every week, as you guys know. His approach play is just phenomenal. Like tee to green is just so good, and the big thing with him is always the putter. And it looked like he was able to flip his putter around a little bit at the match play. It looks like he made some changes, and if he can get the putter going, he can. I understand that he's only seen this course once, but that once that he played, which was last year, he finished runner up to Hideki. So yeah, I mean, would it be weird if his first win on tour is the Masters? Yeah, it would be. I get that, but it really wouldn't shock me. If Will Zalatoris wins this tournament, the guy's been so close recently to winning some PGA Tour events. Uh, he belongs here. He belongs in this 9,200 price range, priced above the likes of Bryson and Daniel Berger and Louis Oosthuizen, who we'll get into later. So I like Will Z. I will definitely be overweight on him. I bet him. And the other guy here that is a little dynamic is Jordan Spieth. Now, Jordan Spieth coming in with pretty bad form. He didn't play good a couple weeks ago. He hasn't been playing good this year. But one thing about Jordan Spieth is even when he's playing bad in the past, where he's had terrible form, he just knows how to play this course. The one thing that I just refuse to make a mistake on is that I will not get burned by Jordan Spieth finishing in the top 5 again, potentially winning the Masters again. He is automatic at this course. It is just unbelievable how well he knows how to manage this course. Even with squirrely play off the tee, even with squirrely approach shots, he knows how to get up and down at this course. So sign me up for Jordan Spieth. Sign me up for Brooks and Willsey in this range. I will be overweight on all those guys. The rest of the guys I'm out on. Cantlay been playing terrible recently. He's a boring guy. I just can't get there with him. I get the love for him. He was literally the best player on the planet like 6 months ago. But he has not been playing well recently. If I get burned by Cantlay, I just don't enjoy playing him. He's a boring golfer. He's not fun to cheer for. So if I get burned by him, I get burned by him. I get it, but I just can't get there with him. And the other three guys in this range are coming in the lowest owned. Daniel Berger, 9% owned. He has terrible course history here. I think when he was a debutant in, let me see here, 2000, 2016, he had a top 20 finish, but ever since then, it's just been getting worse. He has a 27th, 32nd, and then a miscut last year. So I'm out on Daniel Berger. I don't think this course really suits him that well. I'll be out on him. And then the two next guys are the biggest conundrums to think about as far as the game theory aspect goes. Bryson and Hideki. Both are coming in injured, with Hideki coming in, off of two WDs. Bryson coming in saying that he's 80% healthy. Do what you want here. I mean, you just got to make a decision on what you want to do here. I'm saying right now, Bryson at 3% ownership, Hideki at 2% ownership. No one is playing them. If you can stomach it, uh, I understand. Bryson, can bomb it out there and tear this course apart if he's healthy. I just can't get there with him. I don't think hitting the ball 350 yards off the tee is really beneficial at this course. I mean, it is to some extent, but I just don't think his approach and wedge play is enough to win the Masters. Hideki, we saw him do it last year. Coming off of two WDs is very scary. We obviously know he's having, back issues and neck issues and stuff like that. But if he's going to gut it out in one of these events and play a full 4 rounds, this is going to be it. He's going to want to defend his championship here. And coming in at 2.79% ownership, it is very, very tempting to play some Hideki. He's not going to make my 1 to 3 max build. He's not going to make my single entry build. But if you're building 150 lineups this week, I could definitely see you sticking, Hideki in like 10 to 15 lineups, getting like severely overweight on the field on him, and just kind of hoping and praying that, typical Hideki comes out and maybe he's healthy this week. So that's my thoughts on that. Between those two guys, I would definitely rather go to Hideki than Bryson. Bryson just looks completely off right now, so I can't get there with him. But yeah, those are like clear pivots. Berger, DeChambeau, and Metier are the clear pivots here. Everyone else is kind of, spread out, with Cam Smith being the highest owned there. So those are my thoughts on the 9K range. Let's jump into the 8K range here. All right, Chris has a question for me. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Chris, can you briefly comment on where you find out early ownership percentage? Well, Chris, I subscribe to a site called fantasynational.com. Basically, it's a site where a bunch of users that play DraftKings use. It's promoted by Pat Mayo. He's like a founding member of that website, and basically, there's a little link in there that you click it, and then it just kind of gives you what everyone using that site has been generating as far as like what ownership percentages are. So they're not exactly accurate. Obviously, we're not allowed to know the exact ownership percentages ahead of time, but they're pretty fairly accurate. I mean, most of the players that are playing DFS are using that site, so it gives you a pretty good gauge as to who's clicking on what names and so on and so forth. So based on those percentages, you can kind of listen to other podcasts and kind of gather like who is popular and who's not popular this week and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not real data. It's just a conglomerate of estimates. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a projection, and over the course of the last few years, we've figured out like it's not just Fantasy National. There's all these different sites like Roto Grinders and all these different sites and Run Pure Sports. They create their own ownership projections based on what everyone else is saying, and when we see those percentages, they're not exactly accurate, but we are close enough to assume that it's close enough to make that. Is it going to be sometimes there's a player that's way off? Yeah, once in a while we're going to player that's 3 or 4, maybe 5%. But in general, I don't see much more than like 2 to 3% discrepancies. So that's where we're pretty much at this week. All right. Let's see here. Oh, 8K range. Okay, yeah, where are we at? 8K range. All right. 8K range, 8,000 to 8,900. We kick it off at the top with Louis Oosthuizen, and then we go down to Shane Lowry. Taylor Gooch, surprisingly priced at 8,700. Sam Burns at 8,600. And then the big name, the big cat, Tiger Woods at 8,500. Looks like he is going to tee it up. It looks like today he was also out of the practice playing 9 holes with JT and Fred Couples again today. So he looks like he is going to tee it up tomorrow and hopefully play 4 rounds. So we'll see how that goes. Below him is Sung Jae, Adam Scott, Neiman, Tony Finau, and Tyrell Hatton. Now, this is the range where it's going to win you and lose you a GPP, basically, I think, because a lot of the people are going to go to the top in the 10K range, the 9K range, and tend to skip this range. So if you're going to play more balanced bills, this is the range where you got to kind of nail and figure out where you want to make a stand, where you want to go overweight on somebody, and figure out what you want to do. So as far as this range goes, initially my favorite play in this range was Joaquin Neiman. I'm a little scared of him now, just because he's paired up with Tiger this week for the first couple rounds. So we know how much of a clown circus that's going to be. It's going to be the most eyeballs on that group with him, Tiger, and Louis Oosthuizen for the first couple rounds. Scares me a little bit, but I also really like Neiman in general. Like his it seems like his demeanor can handle that potentially. So I'm not going to completely go off of him. I think I'm just going to go from being overweight on him, which his ownership right now is coming in at around like 13%. So before I was planning on being like double the weight, double the field on him, maybe like 25%. But I think I'm just going to cut that down now to maybe like being like even to the field with him, like right around 13%. So I really like Neiman. I'm going to take the shares that I originally was going to have on Neiman and kind of transfer them now to Adam Scott. Adam Scott he's obviously a past champion here. His form has been great. And the thing that always burned us with Adam Scott in the past has been his putter. Now, he seems like he's found something with his putter over the course of the last 6 to 8 months. So, and he knows these greens very well. The guy never misses a cut here. Nothing but top 30, top 40 finishes, a win, a few top 10. So instead of being overweight on Neiman in this range, I'm actually going to be overweight on Adam Scott in this range. So that's my guy in this range. Adam Scott, number 1 for me, Neiman, number 2. Now, as far as Tiger goes, right now he's looking like projected at 9% ownership. I'm thinking by tomorrow morning, it's going to be higher than that. I always think that he's the toughest guy to handicap as far as ownership goes because everyone just clicks his name because they want to see him do well. They want to see him win. They want to root for their lineups to win with him in it. But a couple years ago when he won this tournament, he was actually not even in the Millie Maker lineup. Like the rest of the lineup were studs with no Tiger in it. So you could win this tournament, win $1 million without having him in your lineup, and he could still win the tournament, which would make everyone's heart happy. So am I going to get there with him in DFS? Yeah, I'm going to play him a little bit. Am I going to be underweight on him? Yes. I'm not going to get to 9% ownership with Tiger or 10, 12, whatever it's going to creep up to tomorrow. So I'll probably have like 5% of Tiger just to have him in a couple lineups. But he is one of those guys that, like I said earlier, like Spieth, he can just tee it up here after, you know, not playing a competitive round of golf for the last year and a half. And I still think he could make the cut. So what's his upside here? I'm not really sure. I think he can make the cut. possibly post a top 20 or something like that. If he finished in the top 10, it would be incredible. One of the most amazing achievable feats ever in the history of sports. But I don't think he can contend on Sunday to win the green jacket. So I'm going to at this price at 8,500. Sure, you can get there, and a top 20 finish would be nice to pay off his price tag. But then again, he hasn't played golf in a competitive round in a while, so he could come out and finish at 40th or something like that. I just can't get there with him. If he plays well, I'm okay with it. He's one of those guys that, like, even if I don't have a single cent on him and he does well, I'm perfectly okay with it. It just makes my heart happy as a golf fan to see him do well and play. And the fact that he's actually playing is just phenomenal. So for him, I'm gonna be underweight on the field on him. So just do what you want. Just know that his ownership right now, 9%, is going to probably creep up to like 12, 13% by tomorrow. The rest of the guys in this range, looks like the chalkiest guy in this range is going to be Shane Lowry. He's coming in at 14 to 15%. I don't know with Shane Lowry. He's been playing all right recently. He actually played well at the Arnold Palmer. I mean, not the Arnold Palmer, the Honda Classic, which he should have possibly won. He's a past major champion. Chalky Shane Lowry, I don't really think I can get there with him. I'd rather go to Neiman right below him. And then the other guy that I really like in this range is going to be Sam Burns. The guy won the Valspar a couple weeks ago. He's been playing phenomenal golf over the last year and a half. And I just think that with Sam Burns, the biggest concern with me as far as Sam Burns goes is that he's a debutant. He's never played this course before and competitively. So that's a little scary, but I think he can handle it. He's long off the tee. His approach play is phenomenal. And I think he can, sink some putts to be in contention here. So my favorite 3 plays in this range are going to be Neiman, Scott, and Burns. And then I'll be out on Lowry. I'll be underweight on Tiger. I'm out on Finau. I just can't get there with him. Hatton is interesting. I just don't know what to do with them. I haven't really made a decision on what I want to do. And then the 3 guys that are coming in the absolute lowest owned in this range, Gooch at 8,700. So that's an automatic pivot play if you want to play a low owned Taylor Gooch. The reason why he's so low owned is because he's severely mispriced. He's 8,700, where in reality he should be like 7,700 in this field. So I get why no one's playing him at that price. Sung Jae is the next lowest owned, coming in terrible form. He finished top 5 here a few years ago in the November Masters. Just absolutely terrible form. I can't get there with him. And then Louis is also coming in lower ownership than Tiger. A little scared of Louis playing with Tiger. I think he's a veteran, though. He could handle that crowd and everything like that. And we know his major history is great. But 8,900, Louis Oosthuizen, I'm a little iffy on that, to be completely honest with you. I'd rather probably drop down to like Finau, to be completely honest with you, if I'm going to play someone in that range. But these low owned guys are obvious pivots to the chalkier guys. But my top play is going to be Neiman. So Oosthuizen, it's a tough call. If you look at Tony's model, he's coming in 31st overall in the model. The guys that pop in Tony's model are Lowry, obviously with him being the chalkiest. I'm going to be out on that. And then the next looks like his next popper is Tyrrell Hatton. Let me see what Tyrrell Hatton's history is here. Okay, so he finished 18th last year, missed the cut the year before, and then missed the cut the couple years before that. Doesn't have the greatest history, coming in with pretty good form. I could get there with Hatton, especially at the flat 8,000, and coming in, 11% owned. Yeah, I could play Tyrrell Hatton. I'm not going to get like super overweight or anything like that, but I could definitely get there with the field for him. So yeah, that's the 8K range. Let's see here. So a couple other comments in the chat about Tiger. Yeah, man, Tiger looking good. His betting price went from 50, now it's down to 35 to 1. So definitely can't bet him. You could bet him to make the cut at like even money. So if your book offers that, I would definitely play that, because this is a 90% field with top 50 and ties being the cut. Like I said, I think Tiger can close his eyes and make the cut at this tournament. Um, there's a question about him being shown as questionable on DraftKings. Yes, they are showing him as questionable on DraftKings, but he is playing. He committed to playing yesterday. Unless something dramatically changes in the next 24 hours, he is going to tee it up. But obviously, before lock, just double check your lineups. And if he withdraws after playing a day and he says his body can't handle it, so what? That it is what it is. It is a little expected, but as of right now, he is definitely teeing it up. He will play tomorrow, and I actually think he's going to play pretty well. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes as far as his tournament this week. So let's drop down to the sevens. The 7K range. I'm not going to read off all these names, but it takes from the top from Abraham Answer and Russell Henley, and it drops all the way down to Luke List, Bobby Mack, Cam Young at the flat sevens. Just looking quickly at Tony's model here, obviously the number one model darling in all of fantasy golf, it is Russell Henley. He's coming in 8th overall in Tony's model. Now this guy, Russell Henley, he just pumps out stats. He is a model darling. Every single DFS player looks at the models and they say, "Oh my God, Russell Henley priced at 7,800, just popping in the models." Russell Henley is not going to win the Masters. I promise you that. He is not good enough to win the Masters. His approach play is great. His history here is okay. He has a couple top 20 finishes a long time ago. He hasn't played in 3 years, so I get that. But he's just one of those guys that is going to, probably shoot like 70, Thursday, Friday, be like 4 under, kind of in contention, and then just kind of break your heart on the weekend. I'm out on Russell Henley. He's going to be, let's see where he's coming in ownership wise. He's coming in pretty chalky on top of that, like 15% ownership. So I'm definitely not going to get there with him. Looks like the other guys that pop in Tony's model here are Corey Connors, Paul Casey, and then a little Tommy Fleetwood and Matt Fitzpatrick. Now, let's start at the top here. As far as ownership goes, the ownership is really, really, really gravitating towards Corey Connors at 7,600. He finished in 3rd place at the match play a couple weeks ago. He's coming in possibly as the highest owned guy on the slate at 22%. I'm going to go there with Corey. I played him last year when he was chalky at 6,800. I'm going to play him at chalky 7,600 this year. His form has been really good. His approach play is just phenomenal. He has an 8th place finish last year, a 10th place finish the year before. I'm going to eat the chalk with Corey Connors here and play him, which means I have to fade some guys after him. The guy I'm going to fade here is Matt Fitzpatrick, who's coming in 2nd highest owned in this range. Can't get there with him, man. If the weather gets bad, he'll play well, but it doesn't look like it's going to get too bad. Maybe some windy afternoons tomorrow and Thursday, but tomorrow and Friday, but Saturday and Sunday look phenomenal. He's one of those guys, just like Cam Smith, man. His off the tee is bad, approach play is all right, and then he just kind of gets there with his putter and his short game. Just can't do it with him, man. I get why people love him and love playing him. He's been in great form recently. I just can't do it. I would rather, if I'm going to play someone in that specific range, right around who were we just talking about here? Matt Fitzpatrick. If I was going to play someone around that range here at 7,700, I'm just going to go to Corey Connors. I'm just going to eat the chalk. He's $100 cheaper, and I'll just eat it with him. Now, the other guy I really like in the sevens is going to be Siwoo Kim. He's coming in at 7,100. His history here is really, really good. He has nothing but top 30 and top 20 finishes over the last 4 years. For some reason he knows how to play this course. He finished 12th here with a broken putter here last year. I like his approach play. He played really well at the Valero last week. He's coming in good form. Siwoo Kim at 7,100, fired up. That's my number 2 play behind Corey Connors in this range. And then the rest of the ownership after Connors, Fitzpatrick, and Kim is pretty spread out as far as like double-digit ownership to like 8K ownership. These guys are like Leishman, McIntyre, Cam Young, Casey, Homa, List, Fleetwood. Like these guys are all just kind of bunched together right there. Out of those guys, I really like Bobby Mack and Cam Young. I'm going to be really heavy on Cam Young this week. I've been playing him all season, like I've talked about with Tony. He's my guy. Even though he's a debutant, I think he can really do well at this course. I'm out on Leishman. I'm out on Paul Casey coming in off of 2 WDs. I'm out on Max Homa. He sucks. Luke List, he's been absolutely dog shit since he won Torrey Pines. Like he just cannot putt anymore. Of course, he burned me that week when I had a Will Z ticket, and all of a sudden he can't putt again. So I'm out on Luke List. I like Tommy Fleetwood at 7,700. He's been playing decent recently. He has a pretty good track record here. I could get there with him. And the rest of the range, I just don't really like anyone, to be completely honest with you. Webb is coming off of injury. He's not been playing good. Billy Horschel absolutely sucks at this course. Can't get there with him. Justin Rose, I never play. Patrick Reed sucks. The one name that's here that's a little intriguing is Bubba. He's been playing recently really bad, but obviously he's won this tournament twice in his career. He knows how to play this course. So if you're going to be a horses for courses guy, Bubba would be your guy here. I like Sergio also. His track record after he won the Masters here at this course for the last few years has been terrible. His off the tee game is phenomenal. He's coming in super low owned at 3.67% ownership. So I could see going to Sergio down here. And then the other two guys here, Answer and Kokrak. Answer withdrew last week. Can't get there with him. And then Kokrak he's not any good recently. So I'm out there with him. So my favorite plays to recap here: Corey Connors, number 1, Siwoo Kim, number 2. And then after that, it's like a tie between like Bobby Mack, who finished 12th here last year, Cam Young, who I'm really, really high on. And then I could see going to like maybe some Bubba Watson and Sergio Garcia. Let me take another quick look here at Tony's model. Yeah, just a couple other names that kind of pop for him here. I get the Answer, Webb Simpson, Mark Leishman popping here, but Answer, he withdrew last week. We still don't know why he withdrew last week, so out on him. Can't really get there with him. Webb, he's just been really bad since he came back from the injury. And then Mark Leishman, 25th overall in his model. Let me see what Mark Leishman's history is here. 5th place finish last year, 13th the year before. Wow, he has pretty good history here. Okay, maybe I could get talked into a little bit of what Mark Leishman after looking at Tony's model here and looking at his course history. And he's coming in at like 12% ownership. I won't be overweight on him. I can get there to 12% with Mark Leishman. I'll add him to the player pool and be okay with that. Now, one thing is that you're probably going to want to end your lineups in this range, the 7K range, because 60. Once we get into 6Ks, it gets pretty dark pretty quickly. So if you're going to end your lineup with a lot of lineups this week are going to end with Siwoo, Bobby Mack, Cam Young. So if you want to get a little different in that range, you're going to have to go to like Seamus Power, Kokrak, Homa, Luke List. Like these are the guys that are coming in a little bit lower owned compared to those three. So, but I really like those three: Siwoo Kim, Bobby Mack, Cam Young at the bottom of the 7K range to round out your lineups. Now, if you are going to go into the dumpster here, let me see real quickly. Go to no. I absolutely have no love for Casey. He played well at the Players a few weeks ago, but after that he withdrew from the Valspar, which is a tournament that he's won twice in the past. So the fact that he withdrew from Valspar tells me that something was actually wrong with him. And then at the match play a couple weeks ago, he played 2 holes and then withdrew from that tournament. So I get it. He has good history here. He's a great ball striker, but he is a very, very, very big prime candidate to dump your lineups because of his injury concerns at the moment. He has a back injury, a neck injury, just cannot get there with him. So I'm out on Paul Casey this week. All right. If you're going to, as Tony listed here, the value bin instead of the dumpster, there are guys priced all the way up at the in the 6,900 range with Gary Woodland, Francesco Molinari, Lee Westwood, all the way down to the bare minimum with the amateurs and the old guys, Sandy Lyle, James Piot, who is playing with Hideki this week. He's the amateur champion. Now, you can cross off a lot of these names. Don't play any of the old guys, the past champions, longer couples. I get why some people like playing these guys. They make the cut, but they never have enough DraftKings upside to win you a Millie Maker or win you a GPP. So just cross these names off your list. Mike Weir, Jose Maria Alfaro, Sandy Lyle. You don't want to play these guys. You don't want to play the amateurs, even though amateurs, we've seen some of them play well in the past, like and contend, like Vic did a few years ago. But these are like, it's too hard to predict like who's going to be the top amateur, and usually they're not really in contention on the weekends. So cross off the amateurs, cross off the old guys, and then let's talk about the other guys. Mainly the guys from like the 6,500 to like 6,900 range. Now Tony's model really pops for Gary Woodland. Gary Woodland is coming in at 69% of 6,900. He is coming in as the highest owned in this range. According to my ownership projections, he's coming in at 12% ownership. Chalky Gary Woodland, $6,000 range, coming in great form. The thing with me with Gary Woodland is that he does not play well at this course. 2 out of the last 5 cuts made, even those cuts made were nothing. They were 40th and a 32nd. I'm out on a chalky Gary Woodland here. Just can't get there really with him. The other guys that are coming in a little over-owned here. Brian Harmon is coming in at 9.2% ownership. Now, the one thing that I didn't talk about here is that this course suits well for lefties. The lefties that are in this field are Bubba, Bobby Mack, Brian Harmon, Garrett Higo, and Mike Weir doesn't count. I can't think of any other lefties here. So out of those guys, my favorite is going to be Bobby Mack, Robert McIntyre. I don't really know. I usually play Brian Harmon, but it's usually in Florida on Bermuda greens. So I'm probably going to be out on him. The 2 guys that I really like in the 6K range. The first one is going to be Thomas Pieters. Thomas Pieters is coming in at $6,600. He's coming in at 9% ownership. So yes, a little chalky, but he does have a 4th place finish share in the past. He hasn't played it for a few years. He's been a little down, but he has won recently on the DP World Tour. He is very streaky when it comes to birdies. He can really outscore his finishing position on DraftKings. So I'm really going to fire up some Thomas Pieters for me. And the other guy that I really like here, and this is going to sound strange just because he sucks, is Cameron Champ. I know you guys are like, oh my God, Cameron Champ, he sucked, coming in off of 3 out of 5 miscuts, blah, 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 blah. Cameron Champ is one of those guys that he can literally win any tournament, any golf tournament. He can go into a golf tournament, be in absolute shit form, and win the tournament. Somehow, for some reason, he just knows how to pop at tournaments. And he is in contention the last 2 years at this tournament. Finished 26th here last year, 19th the year before. Coming in at 6,600 with no ownership whatsoever. He's my guy. He is my sleeper of the week, Cam Champ. I would not be surprised if he finishes in the top 20 again. And at 6,600, that is all you're really asking him to do in this range. So my 2 favorite plays here are Thomas Pieters and Cam Champ. A couple other names that I like. Sepp Straka, been playing pretty well recently. I could see going there with him. And Tom Hoge, he's been playing well recently also. I could see they're going with him. I don't really have love for anyone else in this range. People are going to say Kevin Kisner. You know what? Kevin Kisner only plays good at like 3 courses throughout the year, 3 or 4 courses out the year. This is not one of them. I will be out on Kevin Kisner. That's about it for me. I'm not really going to get to anyone else in this range. EVR, I guess a little bit maybe. HV3, Harold Varner, he's been playing well recently. I could maybe get there. He's a debutant, so maybe get there a little bit with him. It looks like according to Tony's model, Gary Woodland is who pops here. Tom Hoagie looks like pops him here for him a little bit. HV3 pops here for him. So yeah, pretty much the similar names. Kevin Na, if you can get it rolling, you can place him. But no one else really in this range I really, really like at all. Mac Hughes, I guess maybe if he turns on the putting at 6,300, but you really don't want to go to anyone low in the low 6K range. Garrett Higo has won on tour, lefty at this course, big hitter. Nah, not really for me. I'm gonna be overweight on Peters. I'm gonna be overweight on Cameron Champ, and I'm probably gonna be a little overweight on Tom Hoagie and HV3 and those kind of guys. Sepp Straka. Those are the guys that I really like in this range. I don't really like anyone else. Oh, I'm not going to play him in DraftKings. I am going to bet him. Danny Willett, past champion here. He's at 6,300. The only reason why I'm going to bet him is because the year that he won the Masters, the weather got really bad. And even though right now the weekend weather looks okay, the Thursday, Friday weather looks pretty bad. Like it's not like bad in the sense that they're going to delay play or anything, but it looks like the afternoons can get pretty windy. So maybe Danny Willett can find some old magic here. He's obviously won on this course before. I'm not really condoning playing him on DraftKings, but definitely have a little bet on him at 300 to 1. So those are my plays for DraftKings this week. And like I said earlier, you want to try to stay out of the 6K range. But if you're going to play two guys up top, like if you're going to start your lineups with JT Hovland, which I probably could see, you're going to have to dip into the 6Ks a little bit. My suggestion would be play somebody like Cam Champ or Thomas Peters, somebody who can pop. If you're looking for a little bit more consistency, Tom Hoagie, Sepp Straka, these guys have been playing pretty consistently all year. But if you're looking to win $1 million, you want somebody that can pop for you. Like Thomas Peters can finish in the top 5. I can see Cam Champ finishing in the top 5. Those are the guys you want. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. And like I said, don't play the old guys. Don't play guys like Matthew Wolf and these guys. Just you can go to better options in this range. All right. So that's it for the DraftKings breakdown. I've taken a lot of your time. I'm just going to quickly go through mine and Tony's betting card, and we will wrap up the show. I will go through Tony's betting card first here. All right. So for Tony, he placed a couple futures bets on Xander before the Olympics at 30 to 1. So you got pretty good value there because Xander right now is around like between 20 to 25. And then he bet on Max Homa before the Fortinet Championship at 125 to 1. I'm not really sure what Max Homa's price is right now, but I am not on Max Homa. So, but he has those as futures. And then his bets that he placed this week, like we talked about earlier, he's all in on Cam Smith at 18 to 1. He looks like he likes Scheffler at 18 to 1. I get that. He's won 3 out of the last 5 events. If Scotty Scheffler wins another tournament here, that would be incredible. He's in on Vic 22 to 1, Cantlay at 22 to 1, Morikawa at 22 to 1, Adam Scott at 60. For some reason, he bet Bryson again. I don't know why, but he bet him at 66 to 1. Good luck with that bet, Tony. And then his bombs are Siwoo at 100, Kevin Na at 200, Lucas Hairbear at 300, Lucas Glover at 500, and Hudson Swafford at 600 to 1. Moving on to my betting card for the week. I was really I didn't really know what to do at the top. I really wanted to bet JT or Rom at the top. I just could not get there with their numbers this week. And like I tweeted out earlier, if either of those, I'm really scared of those guys dusting me this week. If JT or Rom dust me, it is what it is. I'll accept it. But after Thursday or Friday, if we catch a good number on one of those guys, we know they can get hot on soft conditions on the weekend. If JT maybe drops down into the 20s or Rom drops down into the 20s or 30s, I'll probably fire a live bet on one of those guys. But those would be the 2 guys at the top that I'll be really closely monitoring this week is JT and Rom. I did not bet them yet. My bets start in the 20 to 1 range with Brooks Koepka, Vic Hovland, who is my favorite play of the week. Colin Morikawa at 20-1. I bet Jordan at 22-1. I don't expect him to win, but like I said earlier, I just cannot fade him at the Masters. Will Z at 40-1, Adam Scott at 55-1, Joaquin Neiman at 65-1. And then my bombs are Siwoo at 100, Bobby Mack at 100, Cam Young at 130, Gooch at 130. Now, the Gooch number is interesting. He's priced at 8,700, but his betting market number is 130-1. I don't condone him playing him at 8,700 on DraftKings just because I think the price is too high, unless you're looking for like a game theory aspect. But his betting number at 130-1 seems a little ridiculous. I think he should be priced more in like the 50 to 60 to 70 range as far as this price goes. So I see a 130-1 number on, which is incredible. Cam Champ 200-1, and then a little sprinkle on Danny Willett at 300-1. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. That was a little tough for me. I really don't do solo pods. Talking to myself for an hour is pretty tough. Next week we will be back at it with me and Tony. I need him to host the show so I can just talk for a couple minutes instead of an hour. But enjoy the Masters this week. It is going to be a fun tournament. Everything is going to get started tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe Nickel City Mafia on YouTube. Please follow me on Twitter at Riku Mukherjee. If you have any questions, please shoot me a DM. I will, tweet out any live bets that I have this weekend or anything like that. Obviously, if you guys are out there and have any questions, feel free to DM me or Tony. That's it. Go Tiger. I hope he has a good week. It should be a fun week. And, I hope Vic Hovland wins, so we have a win for the show. Me and Tony both are on him. Looks like me and him are both on Morikawa too. So hopefully one of those guys win, then we both hit a winning ticket this week. All right, guys. Good luck this week. Enjoy Augusta. And, we'll see you next week.